What's up, everybody? It's BallietBran. Happy Sunday. It's April 11th, 2 o'clock, the normal time that I do live streams. So yeah, we got some information to cover today. Hex is doing pretty well since even the last time we streamed. You know, Hex is volatile, and so was Bitcoin and Ethereum when its liquidity was the lowest. And we can see that just some of the fluctuation in the market, right? People buying, people selling makes the price chart go up and down. So without further ado, before I kind of get into things and play the intro, just taking marketable thoughts recommendation of just talking for a few minutes before the intro goes. So I hope everyone's doing well. It's a beautiful sunny day in Seattle, and I had a really good week. Got a new vehicle this week, just a commuter car, just a Toyota Corolla, but pretty happy about that. And it's going to be a lot better for these Seattle hills as opposed to the manual transmission. So without further ado, let me just start off with just some of the price action, the price chart, what's going on, because that's really one thing that people really care about the most. So just even from about, that's about 1 week from the last time I streamed, Hex is up roughly about 5%. Now, if you scroll down right here, you can kind of see this action in between. You know, you could take even like the low from even just this wick up, and you could see, I mean, Hex was up like 23% at one time, just at the wick itself. But that's where kind of Hex is briefly, just on a chart before I get into some of the other information. So I know a lot of people. This is going to be one of the points that I cover, and not to like spoil it, but I did see it in a comment where a lot of people have been craving a Richard Hart stream, and myself included. But I've also taken Richard's advice before, where when he's not tweeting a whole bunch and when he's not super active on social media and whatnot, it's usually because he's building, working on polls or Hex-related things, or just resting. So. But Hexologist did mention that day 500 he was going to have some special guests, and then he mentioned it today in Toby's tweet that it was going to be Richard Hart. So I guess we can go to that real quick, and then we'll play the intro. Let's just let's share this real quick, just because it's exciting, right? So many Hexicans. We see what Richard's posted on. Some of the things that Pulse is going to have, how the hard fork is going to work, but it's going to be even better to see Richard on live stream, right? We all crave that, we all love that, but we also know that when, like I said, he's not streaming as much, it's probably because he's busy working. So Toby had a good comment a little bit less than a day ago, 17 hours ago, where he's saying who else is ready for a Richard Hart live stream. And Hexologist said he'll be on my stream in a few days. Wink. So, like I said, I've been trying to catch every one of Hexologist's streams, and I remember him saying day 500 he would have a special guest. So that should be hopefully soon, and I'm definitely excited for that. Y'all should be excited too. There is going to be more Pulse chain updates per Richard at the end of the month, so that's even more exciting. But without further ado, let me just do the 90-second intro while I just share it on the Telegram real quick. And then if anyone has any questions, we can try and cover that, as well as some other Hex-related information. Since the last time I was doing the stream, the Hexican.Vegas site, I think, was just being updated for a little bit, and Maddie has it up and running again. So kind of want to cover some of that information as well, since it's about 2.5 months ago, or sorry, 2.5 months out. So without further ado, we'll do the intro, and then we'll say what's up.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Yeah. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Stake that hex, 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 stake that motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch!
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. BallietBran.
Cool. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining. I want to say hi to everyone in the chat. We got Joe Hexotic. Joe, great to see you. For anyone that wasn't familiar, Joe was the one that did that Stake.Hex remix, right, by Nagabo. So that's on his channel that you can find. And thank you for sharing that with me as well, Joe. Yeah, I'm happy to use that for the intro because it was just so well done, right? We've got such talented Hexicans, and it was cool for the Richard Hart shout out and just everything that's going on. Also, to Crypto Learner, I want to say thank you. I had done a little bit of like a photo layer application for the QR code that I have, and they were able to like crop it a little bit better, the Staker logo. And so pretty happy about that they were able to do a little bit of extra cropping and help me out there. So thanks, Crypto Learner, for that. Alex K, love the intro. Exactly. Yeah, shout out to Joe for all of that because he's the one that put in all the time for that. So he also, him and Hexmac and I think someone else worked on like the song Take On Me, but it was like Stake On Me, a remix. That was pretty cool. So yeah. Let's see. Big Fudge, evening gang. Good to see you. Sig Hex, also saw you on D Live, so that was good to see you there as well. Let's see. Psyched to keep seeing in your intro. Yeah, I mean, it's true. One thing I did learn from just streaming in general, you kind of learn like, okay, I should do this, I shouldn't do that, should upgrade the mic a little bit if it's too quiet. And some of the other intros were just getting a little bit too long because I had like compiled like 3 different Hexican songs. And when you have like a 20-minute intro, that's kind of just overkill. So I took some of the chat advice from that. And so yeah, with your intro and the other 2 clips, it's like 90 seconds. So thank you. Marcavelli, good to see you. He says, your chin guard / beard game is getting strong. Brand the man. Yeah, these lovely French genetics probably won't be able to grow a beard for a while, but appreciate the comment. I'll take the baby face. Let's see here. Piston Broke 5,555 says, that Nagabo is one wild dude. It's very true. The one thing that Hexicans share in common is we all are pretty wild, and we're smart too, do our own research, but we all have our unique personalities, and Naga is definitely one of them that is fun to clip out and listen to as well. He's great. So Nate J's in the house. T-Share Master. Hey, I like this person. I've seen him on Twitter, and tell you what, it really is all about the T-shares. I had a coworker ask me like, Brand, so you mentioned Hex and you mentioned it's about a couple of pennies, but the fees to do the staking and the fees to end the staking, like what's the point of staking versus holding it liquid? And pretty much the T-share is really what is the pretty much like the value of Hex is that T-share rate, it is analogous for compounding interest. And so in Hex terms, that's only going to go up throughout its whole lifetime of the smart contract. And so the longer that you hold those T-shares, the more that you're getting interest paid daily to you per the T-shares. And when other people, their shares expire, since you're going to keep yours for longer, then you'll just keep getting more and more interest. And it's like an S curve as far as the actual interest, the way that it gets paid out. But Will's only does some really good charts for like what some of the future payout projections could be, or just the actual T-share itself on an S curve, and where that could be in the future as well. So it's really a great opportunity to be in right now and to be in early. I mentioned that sometimes you'll have communities saying like, oh, we're at 1 penny, we're at 2 pennies, but that's actually good because the price itself is just consolidating and it's doing what Hex did last year before its really big pump. So I want to shout out to Dan Emmons real quick. He's got a tweet that I want to reference that's kind of just not real. It's just relatable. Let's see here. So relatable to what I'm trying to say. Let's just see. No, remove the comment. Okay, so yeah, shout out to Dan. He's been in Hex for a while and early Bitcoin guy, so shout out to him. Hope you're doing well. But he says, how long did it take for $1,000 investment in Bitcoin to turn into 100,000? And then he says, now compare a person who bought $1,000 worth of Hex in the adoption amplifier phase. The first year of Hex existence did just that in under 1 year. Seems to me no signs of stopping. And yeah, the beautiful thing about that, Dan, he makes a very good point that not only did Hex go over many multiples compared to if you're holding Bitcoin or Ethereum, but just the sheer amount that it did, I think it was like, we'll have to go on Richard's Twitter, it's like 380 something X maybe in some odd amount of days. But that doesn't include the actual interest that you get if you're staking. And so there's graphx.rocks that shows what the value of the Hex would be per staked Hex. So we can look at that as well. And then kind of just chit chat with the chat for a little bit and then wrap things up for the stream. So yeah, T-Share, hope you're doing well. Let's see. Hexplied. Hex predictions for 2022. Well, let's just see. I mean, for 2021, I'm thinking, yeah, that the price of Hex going to not just $1, but multiple dollars is, I mean, Hexo kind of has a price prediction of like 201. And I think we could definitely do that. We could definitely hit $2, $3, something like that. Because the actual way that the liquidity works, the way that the burn of the Hex works when you're actually staking it, the actual average staker in Hex, the average length that they're staking only goes up from what we've seen, at least. Like I've seen it go from like 4.8 to earlier is like 5.4 years, which is great. And then the average APY for the average staker is like 37.8 APY. So that's insane. But so to answer their question, I mean, so if in 2021, I think that it could do dollars. Who knows if it'll do more than that? We're obviously just speculating, but in 2022, I mean, you know, it could be tens of dollars, $20, $30. I mean, the actual price of Hex can go up significantly, and we got to think about this as well. People like Lex Friedman are lining up with Richard to do an interview, and Lex has quite a big following. He's got like 1 million followers. People like Jordan Peterson, shout out to Brennan, Shadowy Existence. I think it's like Be Mindful of Death is his Twitter. But he got retweeted by Jordan Peterson, and I know he's pretty popular in like the IDW, the intellectual dark web thing. So him and Richard would be great as well. And as far as Hex goes as an existence with its gatekeeping, we really have only where but up to go. So I'm thinking, yeah, it could be $20, could be $100, who knows, in 2022. Bitcoin went up significantly high just in like 10 years, let alone what Hex has already done so far. So I guess that's kind of my general prediction right there. I did miss a couple of comments, so let me just scroll up a smidge. Benny, good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Always nice to see Benny. Hex Kai, how's it going? Finn Bear, I see Finn Bear in the audio chat a lot. The t.me/Hex Crypto. They've got a like a Clubhouse equivalent audio chat, but for Telegram. So it's great. I've done like a little tutorial on how you do it. It's obviously not even that hard, but it's just for awareness for people to realize, oh, if you haven't been on Telegram in a minute, there's like a 24/7 call going. And with Hexicans being worldwide and everyone being awake at different time of the hour, then usually there's someone you can talk to. So Finn Bear, I've chit-chatted with a couple of times. So I hope you're doing good. Goldie, Hexagade, your Hexcellence, and Pabalava, hey. I know I just saw one of the Hexicans on the DJ Cryptomatic Twitch stream that he just had. So if you're not following him, DJ Cryptomatic, maybe I can throw out his Twitter real quick in the. Let's look at his Twitter real quick because he does really good music, and I don't think that he's gotten really enough recognition. So let me just share the audio for just a second. This is DJ Cryptomatic. So twitch.tv/DJ_Cryptomatic. And he's got this little Hex spinning wheel thing. Some of the DJs could probably correct that language. But then we got some of the other Hexicans in here, and then the actual video of himself doing the DJing. So that's definitely awesome. He does great work. And the other thing that's cool too is I kind of discovered this actually on Cabana Crypto, his Friday stream, is that DJ Cryptomatic, he'll actually cut like some of what Hexicans are saying. So he cut some of their most recent stream on Friday of like Huddle Dog, Crypto Coffee, Hexologist, kind of doing like these snippets into the music while it's playing. So that's really cool. That's really creative. And maybe I could send him something after the stream that was a shout out to him, so he could maybe put that in there as well if he wanted. I think that's awesome. Pay Me Hex, hey, good to see you. Bitfinesse, Bitfinesse, he's got a great story. I mean, talk about delaying gratification and just maximizing on an opportunity. Some people, they live above their means, and they're constantly getting a new vehicle or leasing a vehicle and getting something new every couple of years, living above their means, trying to, I don't know, maybe impress people. I'm just saying some people, right? But people like Bitfinesse, I think his strategy and kind of what all he's done for Hex should be recognized a little bit more. I mean, the guy has gone all in on the principles, all in on Hex, and understands how all of it works. And so when I hear people like him writing out guides from how they've staked and writing out things that they've done, I think it's really respectable and commendable. So because when you have this opportunity, you don't realize how good it is until now Hex is dollars. And then you're like, oh man, I remember when Hex was 1 or 2 cents. And then same thing, Hex goes from dollars to tens of dollars. And we saw this with Bitcoin too, right? Where now it goes from tens of dollars to hundreds of dollars. Obviously, you just add a zero, right? Thousands, tens of thousands. But for people to think that something like that is unrealistic with Hex is not the case at all. It did the same thing with Bitcoin, and Ethereum did well as well. And things like Hex can do that and even more, just because of the way that it's programmed. Bitcoin went up 6 million X, and actually more if you measure under a penny. But that's with it having 2 hacks, right? One of them that actually had the chain rolled back, that was an inflation bug, and then another one that didn't actually get enabled but could have been printed as much as they want. So Richard brings those points about when you compare safety and when you compare putting your money into Bitcoin or putting your money into Hex. Well, people like Elon put in $1.5 billion to Bitcoin, and there's a lot of other people in Bitcoin. But when you factor that it's not really, the code itself has been compromised in the past, and since it's not really modular and it's susceptible to hacks, that is something that you want to consider if you choose to invest in that, is that, hey, if it has an inflation bug and it's been compromised in the past, why wouldn't it have the same thing again in the future? So things like Hex being actually locked and immutable means that it'll never be able to be tampered with. Hence the reason for also no admin keys. So that's really something that makes Hex separate from Ethereum and from Bitcoin. And even when Hex forks Ethereum, when Richard forks Ethereum with its own Pulse network, the Hex on Ethereum is still going to stay there because it's layer 1, but there's just going to be a copy of that layer 1 stakes liquid Hex and staked Hex just on the next network. So maybe we can talk about that too if you guys are interested as well. I know we did that the last time. We looked at just some of the, just at twitter.com/pulsechain.com is the Pulse chain. And I'm probably betting that with Richard Hart and Hexologist doing their live stream on day 500, I would think that maybe some Pulse chain information might get brought up. So all we know is that when Richard Hart does something, he does it properly. He does his research to make sure that the thing that he's working on isn't going to fail. And I think it's going to be very beneficial for the Hexicans and for other networks to kind of see that the offer that Pulse has. The intro, yes, the intro is great. Let's see, Big Fudge. Let's see, we got some other comments. Hey, Balaji, good to see you, man. Brizology, the Unhexable. I mean, yeah, the one thing that Pulse Chain is going to do that I think a lot of people are going to stand to benefit from is the fact that the fees are going to go down. Richard mentioned that they can't go down below a penny per se or to 0 per se, because then someone can just spam up the information and kind of just spam up the chain. But if it goes back down to a penny, we saw what happened when Hex first started off. It was at a penny, and then the actual Ethereum fees just got too much. But I think it's really cool the fact that we could go back to something like that, because that saves the people that just have $100, that just have $200, that want to get in, but also don't want to have like say 50% of their principal go away in just fees and transfer costs. So that's going to be a big deal. Apology in the house. Hex in XS. Support your boy. Oh yeah, he is our DJ. Yeah, he's a great DJ. And the cool thing about him as a DJ, particularly, Richard mentioned this about like curating, right? When you have something, it's not just one topic, but it's all of the genres and the hits of all of the genres. So DJ Cryptomatic does a great job of changing things up and making the mood constantly just vibing, just music that you want to dance to. So appreciate that. It'd be cool sometime in the future to, because I don't think he can come to the U.S. With all the COVID stuff, but maybe I'm wrong. It'd be cool sometime for him to host like a DJ Hex event. Let's see. Richard Hart and Sam Hyde would be a lit live stream. Totally. Yeah. The cool thing about Richard is he mentions kind of having like multiple ways of being, right? Not just being one style of personality, but kind of having many different forms that you can work into. And so, yeah, we see Richard streaming with and interviewing with all sorts of people of different backgrounds. And he definitely has quite the plethora, right, of information. You haven't been on Telegram. Interesting. I haven't been on the Telegram audio actually in a minute. It's been maybe like a week or so. But yeah, I'll definitely have to get back in there and see how everyone's doing. Yeah, Sig Hex, ready for another 350x. Exactly. And it's people look at the reality now, and then they look at the price chart in the past, and sometimes they think like, oh, okay, well, all I can really conceive is what the price is now, and man, Hex at $1 would just be almost unfathomable or unbelievable until it actually happens. And things like that are very likely. I mean, I mentioned being in Hex since the beginning, and a lot of us, I remember Hexo even said it too, like, man, if Hex can just get to a penny, like that'll be awesome. And then we saw it get to 2 pennies. So Coin Noob 4. Yeah, I mean, did I hear dollars? Yeah, you definitely did hear dollars. It's definitely very possible, and especially with the economic buys that you can see. I mean, someone had like a $300,000 Uniswap buy the other day that just shot off the candle, quite a lot. And you should be following the whale, like the whale Hex. We can actually look at it now just to show you guys why you should be following it. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, if Hex wasn't already addicting enough, this can even be more addicting if you are just seeing, okay, some of the bigger buys and some of the bigger sells. The sells I don't really mind as much. It's kind of like you can kind of see just like a pattern, just like with anything else, where okay, a little bit of selling here and there, but it seems that there's more buyers than sellers, which is why we've solidified over a penny for quite a while now. And I tell you what, as far as bullishness goes, we're definitely looking pretty bullish, and it feels that way too from just the price increase that we've had since Big Payday and how much we've been able to hold it. So, okay. This is the whale Hex. So if you're not following this, guys, I think, if I'm not wrong, this might even be like made by Firebun, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the devs. But so check this out. Hex Whalebot at Whale Hex, and you can see I always go to tweets and replies just because it has more information. But you can see 69,421 US dollars were bought 7 hours ago, 3.5 million hex, and things like that. When we had the adoption amplifier, the price wouldn't necessarily be realized until later or when they'd actually hit the market. But with this, they're buying directly on the market, and they're buying via Uniswap, which, since it has the automated market maker, it kind of pumps up and dumps down based on people buying and selling. So I think that's pretty cool. Hexitarian says, hey, Bran. Yeah, good to see you, man. Cuz D says, it's realistic to assume the moves up will take increasingly more economic mass, but I see a 50x very possible in my opinion. Yeah, and I think Richard had kind of talked about, he's talked about liquidity a lot, right? He's talked about with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Hex, your biggest opportunity and the most opportunity is when the liquidity is the lowest. And there's all these complaints that, bigger wallets can't get in and bigger buys can't get in. But that's not necessarily untrue if you just iterate. You don't have to be buying $100,000 at a time. You could be buying $10,000 at a time or $5,000 buys, and just even stagger those out, or go to match.xyz and do limit orders, and then you're kind of buying into someone's sell as opposed to realizing it on the market. So that's something as well. Let's see. SigHex says, FinBear, will the missus let you travel to Vegas in June? And then they say, no, I don't want a vaccine. Okay, yeah, Sig. I think if you're in the States, it's not necessarily mandatory, but I think for some of the other countries, like my girlfriend's going to Switzerland next month, and they need it. So yeah, I think it depends on which country. So if you're in the States already and you're traveling to Vegas, I don't think you need it. So yeah, Coin Noob 4, you definitely did hear dollars, and let's go back to the whale bot just so we can confirm what I was talking about. So yeah, you can scroll down. People that sometimes there would be ad hominem attacks for people that clearly haven't done their research, and they say there's 1 point something billion dollars locked, but can you sell? Can you realize your profit? Is anyone going to be able to sell in the market? And it's yes, this is proof that people are selling. It's USDC, which they can just transfer straight to their exchange and then into their bank if they want to as well. But this is real money being realized by people taking profit. And then what I generally see, kind of a pattern that I'm noticing, is I've seen, I'll address some of the DLive comments in a second, but I'll see this person that's kind of been dumping 3 million pretty frequently this past week. And then I see people buying right after their sell. And so the way that the automated market maker works, and the way that Hex works in general in any market, is not every person is going to sell all at once, right? If you did, you would have a flash crash, you would have a dump, a bear market, whatever you want to call it. But the beautiful thing is people see the value in Hex, and they see the value in earning 5 Hex per T-share per day. And that's just for 1 T-share, right? If you have thousands of T-shares or however many T-shares, then you're doing pretty damn good too, because you're getting paid out in an asset that is going up in value. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The whale bot itself is pretty cool. Like I said, I saw I was on I think I was watching someone's live stream, and I saw just $300,000 US buy, something like that, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, so it'll also say right here, so this person, 15 million Hex ended their stake 18 hours ago. They got a 67.3 APY. That's amazing. Their return on investment was 58.8%. Shows you the payout, shows the days served. See, this is what you want to do. If you put in a stake, in my opinion, from just my experience, you want to serve 100% of the time, because otherwise, if you end it early, especially if you had big payday, you're just going to be paying a lot in fees. And if you want to pay other people that have stronger hands, that's totally fine. But that's just something to consider, is that when you don't do what you said you would do and you end your stakes early, sometimes you'll get penalized significantly. So yeah, that's something cool that y'all should be following if you haven't been already. And yeah, we're actually going to cover the Vegas because, like I said in the intro, was that last time a week ago when I was streaming, the Hexican.Vegas site was just down for a second while it was being updated. So let's actually go into that now, just since we're talking about it. So Hexican.Vegas. Let me go to this real quick. So yeah, shout out to Matty Allen. Not only did he host the first Hex conference, thanks also to Joe for working in the green room in the Hex conference. He really did a lot. Those two really did a lot of work behind the scenes and in front of the live stream itself that doesn't get mentioned enough. So that was awesome for Matty and Joe to do that. And then I always remember saying, like, man, this conference was amazing. It went better than I thought it would, and it was great. But then it's like, man, it'd be cool to meet all these people in person. And so that's exactly what this Vegas conference is. Let's share the screen. Okay, cool. So yeah, shout out to Matty Allen. You can go to Hexican.Vegas, and this is the article that pulls up. So it's going to be June, but the first Hex mass meetup, and it's going to be June 24th through the 27th. And so there's people going earlier than the 24th. I mean, obviously, everyone can choose whatever plans they want to do, right? In this article itself is kind of like some ideas of what some people might be doing. But it is also a lot of people that are going to be there, and we still have like 2.5 months before the actual day and before the actual date. And so, yeah, people's plans might change, or people might want to, break off into little subgroups and do whatever they want to do. But I tell you what, it's going to be a blast. There's going to be a lot of people, and Matty already has like over 100-something people in the actual meetup itself. But so if you go to Hexican.Vegas, you can see there's a couple different Telegram links that you'll want to click on. So t.me/hex meetup. So that's the chat that you can participate in. And then t.me/hex meet. That's kind of like some sort of notification. So him and another person yesterday actually did a stream regarding some of the Vegas meetup. And there's going to be some information soon on what kind of hotel deals that they can get, that if Hexicans want to, they can choose to participate in that, or they can pick whatever hotel that they want. So it's going to be awesome, and I look forward to seeing anyone there. So yeah, that's the Hexican.Vegas. If we scroll down just a smidge, let's see. So the meetup schedule itself, the actual day itself, June 24th. Is going to be a meeting, kind of just like a central location where everyone can kind of visit each other, and then from there people can do whatever they want. But at 5 p.m. there will be like a cheers to Hex, and I believe they meet up at this time every day. So I believe that'll be kind of like the central location, and yeah, so it's kind of like a Space Needle-esque version for Vegas. So I think that's pretty cool. I think they did a really good job. And I guess you can also like bungee jump. You can see right here in the bottom right screen. And you wouldn't find me doing that in a million years, let alone some of these roller coasters. But if you want to do that and get your adrenaline going, be my guest. I'll watch from the top. So anyways, there's that. There's, like I said, lots of information that Matty has covered here, of kind of like just a general itinerary of what people can do. There's let's see which days it's going to be. On Saturday, that's going to be kind of like the main day, but there's at 2 o'clock on Saturday there's going to be this shooting guns at Battlefield Vegas. So they've got a range that I guess you can drive tanks over vehicles and shoot automatic weapons if that's your thing as well. And then 2.5 hours later there's this looks like a bowling alley that seems pretty cool. You can kind of see the geometric patterns back there, which is cool too. So yeah, check it out if you haven't already. A shout out to Maddie once again for putting that on. And yeah, appreciate all you do. Yeah, when Dala, I mean, yeah, we could go Dala this year. We could go Dala very easily this year. That is just a 50x from here. And as far as pulse, mic sounds off. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, as far as the pulse chain goes, and as far as what Richard's working on with interviewing with Lex and possibly Patrick Bet-David in the future, there was actually like a tweet that Patrick Bet-David made, and Richard has mentioned that he's talked with his PR team before, but it just never happened. My man just needs a rug. Anyways, so yeah, what okay, cool, Mike is good. But yeah, as far as Richard goes, I think it makes sense for him that, say, before these things like Lex, wouldn't it be cool if Pulse was done that way? You can have like major announcements that have already happened before going on to such a big show. So either way, we're going to know more at the end of the month, and we're also going to see Richard on Hex's channel in a few days, it looks like. So thanks, Hexo, for breaking that. And yeah, let's see any chat comments here. Morgan, gotcha. Piston, Mike is good here. Yeah. Auto Motor, you know your name. Patrick Bet-David. Yeah, he does a whole bunch of entrepreneurship stuff on YouTube here, and he's great, right? The cool thing about what Richard's doing and like the intellectual dark web thing is Lex is kind of like the foot in the door, right? And then Lex has been on Joe Rogan's stream, or channel, I should say, like 5 or 6 times. And there's just, once you have one domino, right, that tips over, and you have that economic energy with Hex just getting better, with smarter people getting into Hex, people like Whales Only, they're able to articulate themselves very well, able to make charts. He said for himself, which is great. I respect that. But also people that can read charts better and understand charts a little bit better. It benefits them as well. And so, yeah, we're definitely going to have a domino effect. But it's going to be a domino effect that kind of goes upwards, right? Because Maddie's kind of showed that Hex has gone up 300 and however many X, right? It's over 350. It's like 388, something like that. But then if you compare that to Bitcoin's 6 million X, he kind of just showed like an S curve and like a time frame chart where it's like you are here and here's 6 million X. And we really are just at the beginning when you think of it that way. And yeah, there's only great information always coming down the pipeline when it comes to Hex. And the beautiful thing about that is it's because Richard did things properly by not giving promises, by completing the product itself before launch, and in doing so he's worked up such a great fan base of Hexicans and a team that is really good. Yeah, hey, one Heximofo, thanks for getting me back on topic. I actually have this in my WordPad notes that I should have gotten to, and we'll get to that now. So yeah, some major news besides Richard going on with Hexo is this. So Staker.app, right? I had a conversation with another Hexican recently, and we're talking about a couple different ways that you can onboard, right? You can onboard via Staker.app. People have their own referral links as well. But the point is you can either do Staker.app, which is a Gnosis safe Ethereum address, and you can do it that way, which is probably the more easier way, right? There's less steps. Or you can do it the more traditional metamask.io and then go to hex.com/stake. So there's a couple different ways that you can onboard people. And let's get into Basat. Yeah, it's on Hexologist, his reply to Toby1Hexobi. He said like 3 hours ago or something like that for day 500. Richard would be going on. So I saw that and had to say something as well, because that's just obviously exciting, and I think a lot of people were wondering what was going on. But yeah, let me get back to the tweet real quick, right? Because it is something that's great, and it is something that, as far as the fees go and as far as failed transactions go, in Staker.app there are no failed transactions, right? It works every single time. So let's go to that right now. Okay. I have way too many tabs open, so that's why it took a second. All right, so we got it pulled open right here. So at Staker.app, y'all should be following it if you haven't already. Great offer. Get your smart wallet today for 0.01 Ethereum, which is $20, and start staking. So it says features. Ethereum list transactions. So you can do like the gas fee with Hex, USDC. So there's no failed or stuck transactions. That's amazing. You know, how shitty of an experience is it when, and I was even ending a stake earlier today, like a really small stake that was like $150, and it was like $50 to end the stake. Well, you know, that's fine. That was on the lower end of the gas spectrum. But how bad of a feeling is it sometimes, if anyone's experienced this, where you hit like the low end of the gas and then it rejects, like it says like transaction incomplete or failed transaction, I think is what it says. And then it's like, man, I just spent $50 for nothing because there wasn't enough gas. So I say that to say that, you know, for $20 you can get your Gnosis safe, and in about 12 hours, the email that you sign up for Staker.app in the Gnosis safe, it doesn't have to be tied to your name or anything. You could use whatever email you want, but that'll be turned on where you can now start buying and staking Hex in the application itself. And as someone that's used it, the process is much more simple, right? It's just a couple of clicks as opposed to MetaMask, and did I make sure I'm sending it to my proper address and I'm not sending it to the contract address like I've done in the past. So those can be some really expensive mistakes to make, right? So instead of making those mistakes, and instead of your friend that you're onboarding making those mistakes, you can use the application itself all in one. So it also says ownership transfer. So you can transfer to a hardware wallet, you can gift it. And then it says multi-signature, which is like multiple confirmations to make sure that a transaction is good to go. And then it says social recovery. So I think that's great. If we scroll down a little bit, it talks about the Gnosis Safe wallet itself and just some of the technology. But so John Lefebvre says, Phoebes, I guess is how he goes by, but says just submitted. So this is great, right? Because before, the reason that they couldn't give away all of the addresses was because it used to be at the high end of the gas, it would be like $60 to set up just a Gnosis Safe. And so as much as Steph and Firebun want to give everyone addresses, if something is $60 for each person, that gets really expensive. So that's awesome. $20, get started. And I've got another little sublink that we can go over as well that kind of talks about the process. So let's actually do that now. Okay, so it's just the process for if you want to do it, right? So you got $20 worth of Ethereum. You want to find out how to do it. So you can go to Staker.app, a smart wallet request, and in this actual form itself is in the subsection of the tweet. So it says requests will generally be completed within 12 hours. So that's still pretty good, right? You can onboard from fiat from your debit card. I think it's just debit card, but yeah, you can onboard from fiat to the actual Staker app itself, and then you can stake all within the app. So the process itself is very easy, but it says request instructions. Sign into the Staker app with the email account. You'll create the request, which will go to Steph and Firebun. Send your 0.01 Ethereum to that address and that address only. That's the address that Steph and Firebun are using to accept it for the Gnosis Safe. And then you'll put the rest of your information down here, right? So you'll put in that, you'll get accepted, and then you can stake if you want on the actual application itself, and you can kind of have some future-proof options that do help, right? The social recovery thing. I mean, I gave I gave all of my family members, my brothers and whatnot, their own MetaMask wallets for Christmas. And so some of the stakes ended on their birthdays, ended on Christmas. And one of the brothers, after listening to Richard, I now know, okay, keep a copy of it yourself in case they lose theirs. But one of the people that I know nearly lost theirs, and because it's just a piece of paper, and told them not to lose it. But with things like social recovery and things like multi-sig, it actually increases the security and increases the security of the stake. Because when you have something that's going out 15.2 years, 5,555 days, well, now it's just sitting, pretty much your T-shares are just minting you a whole bunch of interest every day. But in that 15 years, and when that stake ends, you want to be able to realize that interest. That's going to be a lot of interest. And so how terrible would it be if you didn't have your 12 words, or you forgot where you put it, or you engraved it on something and now it got rusted over or got eaten by mice or something like that. So the more secure you can be, the better. And Gnosis Safe is just one other layer and one other thing that you can do that can significantly improve your security. Yeah, Basat says, I got my Gnosis Safe months ago and it cost me about $10 to $15. So $20 now is a great deal. And yeah, that's the other thing too is the gas itself is constantly fluctuating. And so for $20, that's definitely pretty good. Without further ado, let me play just like a 1-minute explanation for people that may be new. We've got 53 people watching, which I think is awesome. Thank you. But there's like a 1-minute intro that post-polar actually, like I thought they were kind of dormant for a while, but they were actually they posted this on their channel. So let's listen to this for a minute and it'll kind of talk about why you want to stake, power of delayed gratification, things like that. So let me remove the comment.
The successful among us delay gratification. The successful among us bargain with the future. Realizing any of our financial dreams comes at a cost, a sacrifice made short-term to enjoy a prosperous tomorrow. The cryptocurrency Hex incentivizes you to delay gratification and stick to your goals. Hex monetizes your time. As a time deposit, Hex pays higher interest rates the longer you commit. Longer pays better. Stake your Hex coins for a chosen duration, and once your stake matures, Hex pays you the compounded interest. The autonomous, decentralized Hex smart contract rewards those that complete their chosen time and punishes those that quit with penalties. Hex keeps score. Launched in December 2019 as a finished product, Hex is fully operational today. For a start, take a small amount and check back in a year how Hex is performing. You will be amazed. Any duration between 1 day to 15 years is possible. How long do you want to stake?
Cool. So I hope that helped. I see one Heximofo in the DLive chat. Let me just put the mic a little bit closer for some of the other people. One Heximofo says, I saw that you can buy the wallet for $20. I'm onboarding some no coiners. That may be the easy button. And yeah, it's true. I mean, obviously everything's a little bit of a process. In the little step-by-step that I just covered, said it could be about 12 hours. So 12 hours for them to confirm. But that's not too bad of a wait if you can onboard via your debit card. And then if you can just stake all in the application, that makes it a lot easier. Ross, good to see you, man. I'll give you the badge of honor again. It's been a minute since I've seen you. I hope you're doing well. There's the badge of honor again. One Heximofo. So let's see. I may get the wallet upgrade just to familiarize with onboarding others with it. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I mean, especially right now, if it's just $20, that doesn't seem like too high of a cost of a barrier to entry, right? When it was around $60, it was like, $60 to $70 with the gas fees and whatnot. When the fees were higher, I could see that being maybe a little bit more prohibitive. The person that you were onboarding, you would obviously want them to be higher dollar amounts. But with $20 and with you being able to onboard via your debit and stake right then and there, yeah, I think that's not a bad idea to just test it out. And that way, if you do get your friend in, now you know what the experience is like. Because I tell you what, MetaMask is great. And sometimes that's the better route for people to take. The person that I was conversing with, we were talking that, hey, some people, they like to learn all of the fine, nifty details. But other people, they just want the ease of 1 or 2 or 3 clicks and then being done with it. Sig Hex 148. I bet nobody who understands the power of Hex and T-shares takes $100 and only checks it a year later. Yeah, let's see. Nobody who understands the power of Hex and T-shares takes $100 and checks it a year later. Yeah, and the cool thing is too is like even if someone has $100 per year, they're probably still going to do pretty well if you can wait that long, right? If your time frame is if you're just staking and you're staking for like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, that might not be enough time to really see everything and see how it's working. Maybe if I was getting someone into it now, with the average being 5.3 something years, I probably would just recommend a year from when they're staking, or starting off with any year-long stakes would probably be good, and then let them scale up from there. Because some people just don't have they'll stake for a year, but if they stake for 15.2 years, which is about the Quattro Cinco, then that might just be too big of a number for them to fathom, that it might be a turnoff for them, and then it might turn them away. Whereas opposed to if you can like start, like the fish that you wind in slowly, you don't just try and yank it all at once. If you can get them at a year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, and then explain to them that you should kind of be thinking of it as like a certificate of deposit in the long-term savings, then maybe then they'll start to see that they could triple their T-shares if they staked 10 years versus 1 year. Any plans to go to the Hex meetup in Vegas? Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. Ross says, will be interesting to figure out the best way to secure our wallets on Pulse. I wish I did more to secure my MetaMask account where I have Hex staked. Yeah, so there is a comment on Pulse Chain, the Twitter account, that kind of does talk about that. And we can go into that now. We briefly covered it last time, and with there being 56 people watching, doesn't hurt to have some Pulse information. So shout out to Richard for doing Pulse. I mean, I think it's great. You've got staked hearts, and then you'll have staked Pulse or whatever Satoshi equivalent it'll be for Pulse. But anyway, so this is the Twitter account. So just pulsechain.com, and then the name is pulsechain.com. But so faster, cheaper, fee-burning Ethereum fork. And then that's also the Telegram, so t.me/pulsechain.com. And I think it's also cool as far as a marketing standpoint that Richard's mentioned. If you have the same username across all of the different social medias, then people are more willing to go to all your other social medias since it's easy to remember, as opposed to your Twitter is this name and your YouTube is that name, and they're all different. It's just so much easier if it's the same. But so to Ross's point, so right here, to use Pulse Chain, let me just zoom in real quick. You just change a single setting in your MetaMask. Your existing address and seed words already work. And so Ross does bring up a good point that he wish he would have, kind of just like what we talked about with the Gnosis, that if you're setting up your wallet and you're setting up your seed phrase, obviously you don't want to be taking any screenshots or any digital footprints because that could be compromised. But it is important to realize that the seed phrase itself is the thing that if that gets compromised, that does allow the hacker or the thief or attacker to spend all your funds. And so we're seeing with it now that, hey, $100 of Hex in April of 2020 wasn't a lot, but then now it's maybe 10,000, 15,000, things like that. The amount of multiples that Hex can do can go up so quickly where now safety is not an option; it's a requirement. And so it's just good to learn from other people that, hey, when you're setting up your MetaMask or even your Gnosis Safe, it's a 24-word seed phrase as opposed to 12, which is MetaMask. And I mentioned earlier that there are some social recovery options, but if you can take the precautions to do it right now, then you don't have to worry if anything bad happens. You want to just have a contingency plan. That's all I'm trying to say. But to Ross's point, yeah, all you got to do is just click one button. And I think it's the top button on MetaMask where it says like network. And there's like the Ethereum network. And then there's like, let me just do it right now. Let's see. So there's Ethereum mainnet. And then if I scroll down, there's like custom RPC. So I'm guessing it's going to be in one of those drop downs, because Richard mentioned it's just one change that's happening. But honestly, we'll probably find out more information when him and Hexo do their stream. Sig Hex says, I'm in the same boat, but it doesn't matter. You can go back and secure multiple addresses before or after staking. Yeah, that's totally true. That's definitely one thing that I've done is there's a whole bunch of stakes that I had. And not only did I consolidate, but yeah, you got to make sure that you're doing proper safety checks to make sure that your seeds are safe. One Hexy says, I would guess that you will have Pulse token and Hex tokens on Pulse. Pulse taking place of Ethereum and Hex being Hex. That does sound accurate. That does sound correct. I know we have the Pulse chain right here on the screen already, so we might as well go over more of it because there is a lot of good information here. So yeah, April 3rd, the details of Pulse chain Ethereum fork launch are secret until the end of this month. And so cheaper, faster, and fee burning are just start. That's awesome. That's super exciting. And yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be other features that Richard talks about. And he says that those features are really special, which I think is awesome. I mean, it gets me excited just to think that, man, Hex is already great on Ethereum. And sure, there's high fees and whatnot, but that can be mitigated, right, with bigger amount stakes and just less frequent stakes. But to see that now there's going to be a fork and something that could, you always hear the Ethereum killer and whatnot, but for something that can at least replace what Ethereum was doing previously and be able to do so more securely and more cheaply, I think is amazing. So yeah, here's some more information, right? April 3rd, Richard kind of just had a whole bunch of information that was going out to people that were kind of anticipating this and weren't able to stop messaging Richard. So that's where he started posting these on the Twitter. But it says, Hex.com on Ethereum is unstoppable. It can't be paused or changed. So layer 1 Hex on Ethereum will always be layer 1 Hex on Ethereum. The Pulse chain Ethereum hard fork is designed to have all your stakes and Hex at the moment of the fork. And it also says in a subtweet, like, hey, if you want that duplication, then you should probably be staking now. So no one knows if an actual snapshot or things like that are going to be announced. My guess is that they might not be. That was kind of the hint, was do it now. But we'll see. I mean, we'll definitely see when Hexo chit chats with him. I know he's probably got a lot of questions to ask maybe in that regard. And if nothing else, it'll just be great to hear an update from Richard. I know the most recent video he did was with Chris Black, and that was good. He definitely covered some information on Chris's rebuttals that were pro Hex, and that was great. But it'll be good to see Richard again. Okay, so you'll have them on 2 chains. Freedom means having choices. A sum greater than its parts. So that's awesome. And that says all of your liquid Hex and all of your stakes. So yeah, that's going to be awesome. I mean, we all like getting airdrops and we all like getting free coins, and to be able to get free liquid Hex and free liquid, or sorry, not free liquid, but yeah, the Hex that's liquid, that's a copy, and then also the Hex that's staked. That's a cool concept that we'll be curious to see how it gets pulled off. But it says if you want stakes on 2 chains, you may want to buy Hex in caps and make stakes before the fork. So like I said, the fork wasn't mentioned itself, but who knows, with stuff happening at the end of this month, with stuff happening like in less than a week, it seems, possibly with Hexo, that seems like that could be maybe sooner than later. yeah, RG3, he's always great. Ross says, RG3 said, the real question is, can we stake Bran to get more of him? That is a good question. I know there's a lot of people like with Elon Musk, like, why can't we just get more Elon Musks? Why is there only one? But yeah, I mean, to Ross's point, the more we can kind of lift each other up and like each other's posts and comments and whatnot, it does spread out to the people, not just in Hex, right? Right now I'm broadcasting on Facebook, which normally I was like, man, I got my family members and stuff like that, like a lot of them that I don't really talk to as much on Facebook. Like, I don't know if I should be streaming to there and my old high school friends. But then I realized, hey, I had my life positively impacted from Hex, and hey, maybe other people that I know might be able to have that same aspect as well. So yeah, I always like to educate people on what it really is. I mean, Johnny Chaos kind of mentions that, hey, if you've got like that trader mentality, or you got that like quick flip mentality, then maybe just keep some of the Hex liquid, and don't just stake all of it, right? Because staking rewards you, and you're incentivized to stake by getting interest. But not everyone can lock, and especially if they've got trigger fingers and stuff like that. Then yeah. Yep, exactly. More Bran. My vote is yes. Finbear, Bran is staking in Vegas. maybe, exactly. so yep. Let's see what else. I did put like a word list of some stuff that was going on. So yeah, the $20 Nosa safe, that's amazing. At the end of the day, things that we can do to get more Hexicans in the system, and to also simplify things, right? I had a coworker, one of them, he self-taught himself, and then the other one was like, man, this is like 12 steps just to go from Coinbase or Gemini to get the Hex stake. Like, no thanks. I'll just stick with my Robinhood, paper stuff. So things like Staker.app for $20, you could front the 20, tell them to onboard via Staker, and then now it's like 2 steps and then you're done. How do we get the new wallet? So let me link everyone the tweets. Let's see here. Yeah, so Goldie, that's how you get the new wallet. Just click on the link that I just posted on YouTube, and that's the Staker.app Twitter account that we just covered like 10 minutes ago. So it shows you how to get it. You got to do the request first, and then submit your email and send $20 worth of Ethereum. Ross, I'm not sure on this yet, man. I tell you what, I know Maddie and I think it's Luis Salazar and then his brother. They're all kind of working hard on what kind of deals they can get for like a bundle, and then obviously the people that want to participate can, and the people that want to be in different hotels can do the same thing. But so Ross says, what hotels are you guys planning on staying at? I stayed on Fremont Street the last few times I went. Yeah, so I've never been. I mean, obviously I know that Fremont is like old Vegas or like kind of, and so I'm not sure. I'm not sure which hotel, but kind of want to stay on one of like the main hotels, maybe towards closer to the Strip, because from what I hear, it's like there's like a 5-mile radius and whatnot, and yeah, you can cab over, but definitely not walk over. I mean, in like 90-degree weather, that seems pretty hot. But yeah, so we'll see. I mean, I personally, I still need to book my actual flight, and I'll probably try and get there the day before, just so I can kind of be like settled and not like rushed from the flight process. But yeah, so hopefully, let's see, a group discount and the high roller brand discount. Yeah, I mean, the thing that when I was talking with the coworker, he was mentioning, like, I was asking him, like, dude, how much should I bring for a budget? Like, because obviously everyone has their own different budgets and how many days they're going to be there for. And he was just kind of saying that, like, yeah, for whatever budget you have, Vegas can kind of accommodate. So definitely, it's definitely smart, just like with anything else, right? If you can plan ahead and then when you get there, you're not so impulsively spending lots of money. So that's something I'm kind of waiting on Maddie to announce, Maddie and the other guys to announce what kind of deal they can get, and then we'll see if that's what I go with. And then, yeah, Don't Panic says it's actually nicer to get a Airbnb. And yeah, from what I hear, some of the German Hexicans are going to get one of those and have their own little place with like 10 people. So that's awesome. I mean, that's the cool thing about this is it's not like this is a field trip, right? Like, people are grown-ups, they can do whatever the heck they want, you know? So yeah, if people want to choose the group discount, great. If they want their own hotel that's different, then they can do that as well. So I haven't completely decided. All I know is I'm going, and it's going to be a good time. But yeah, one Hexy Mofo. So let me just go back to, I mean, just go to Staker.app, and you can see the tweet. I mean, if the link didn't work, right here, you'll just go to Staker.app and just look at one of their most recent tweets. So just type in @Staker.app, and right here is the actual Google Doc that'll kind of tell you how to follow the process. So it's $20, and I retweeted it so you can look at it there as well. But yeah, I just covered that just a few minutes ago. All right, let's see what else we got. Maybe you can take a look at the price. Oh, man, what do you know? Let's take a smidge. Let's take a look. Looks like we're pumping a little bit. Let's go to the price here. So Uniswap.hex.vision. This was just kind of like, you can see 169 bars. This is just hourly, but about up 8% from last week at this time. So that's awesome, right? And that's just liquid. That's if you're not staked. Whereas if you were staked, you'd obviously be earning interest, and so the value would be a little bit more than 8%, depending on your APY that you're earning. But so yeah, we're over 2 pennies right now. Since we're on this, if we just kind of zoom out the time frame, I mean, you can just see this is just version 2, and maybe I'll just start off with the weekly. And you know, I'm no chartist or anything like that, but after being in crypto for a few years, I kind of know, like, okay, this is at least the general setting of what we got going. And man, I remember, so this is the big payday, just the death dump, right? In crypto, it's always like, buy the rumor, sell the news. And I mean, in this one candle alone, in this 1 week candle, price dropped like 80%. And I remember, and the beautiful thing about Hex is, like I said, you're incentivized to stake. You're incentivized to lock. And so for someone that's locked, you can't sell. And like I mentioned also, yeah, thank you, Archie, for the advice there. So yeah, over 2 pennies. But what I can see here, and what you can see as well, is from Big Payday, that was supposed to be the sell event and the disaster event. But what we saw was the opposite. Is because Hex is a valuable asset. Wells only talks about this a lot, where he's never seen a market or an asset, a commodity, where people are wanting its price to go down so they can accumulate more. Like, that's a really bullish feature of people's emotions towards this commodity, towards this asset. And so you can see even from November 19th, I mean, we're up almost tenfold from its wick all the way up. And so that's pretty significant. So yeah, this is just Hex on a weekly. And like I said, it's amazing to see that last year when Hex was sub penny, like 3 zeros or 4 zeros, something like that, before the digit, 1 penny was astronomical. It was going to be like Lambo season, right? If we got 1 penny, and now we're over 2 pennies, And we still have more consolidating to do, but just in natural technical analysis, like this kind of upwards wedge and whatnot, they tend to break out to the upside. And we saw that on even the version 1 Uniswap as well. It's got the higher price history. But you can kind of see we're almost doing what we did in April of 2020. So that's super bullish. That's definitely bullish. Yeah, Rusky99. This is the brand pump. Hey, sure, I'll take credit. Why not? But anyway, so Rusky99 says, "Oh my God, so true. I keep wishing it would go down." Yeah, same thing. I know I hear people that are like, "Man, I'm waiting to buy the dip." And I even had a friend the other day, and I messaged him like, "Hey, it was, I think it was like below a penny. It was like 89% of a penny." But I was like, "Hey, we're under a penny again. Now might not be a bad time to get in." And he's in already, so we're doing pretty good. But he didn't expect the price to go up so quickly. And that's what happens when you've got something where people are buying it and holding it and locking it for 15 years, for 1 year, for an average of 5.4 years. That actual average itself, the price hasn't really caught up with it. And we see the share price going up in hex terms and in dollars. But the actual average of 5-point-something years, I don't think that the market realizes the actual scarcity of hex yet. And so it's just going to take not much longer for things like the Lex Friedman, just more positive press and news with Richard Hart. I mean, we had the Economist advertisement that was amazing, and there's just constantly good things that seem to be working for Hex and going on with Hex. So as opposed to like in 2017, I was a Litecoin bag holder, and I remember when Charlie had posted the tweet of why he was selling and whatnot. And so I remember as a Stockholm syndrome bag holder, I was like, oh, okay, the founder just sold and this is probably pretty bearish, but some part of me, like I said, it's like a Stockholm syndrome, was like, okay, we're just holding and holding. The future is going to get better. We're going to have this promise of confidential transactions. And what I've learned with Hex is, hey, there are no future promises of this and that, of expectations, but you kind of hear about it after the fact. Like, oh, RichardHart.com is now up and running, and the Ethereum hard fork has its own Twitter account, the Pulse Chain Com. So things like that you hear after the fact, and they just tend to be stable. So Hex is definitely doing really awesome. Don't Panic says, I bought the dip last night and already made back my gas fees. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So sure, you can conserve on your gas fees by waiting for a less congested time, but it can also leave you, it's just like with anything else, right? It can also leave you behind as well, where now you're like, man, I don't care what the gas fee is. The price is going up so high that I need to get in now before I'm really screwed. Hexagade. Yeah, hey, Hexagade has some really good artwork too. And he's actually, I'm pretty sure this is the same person. I'm usually pretty good about memorizing the face and the username. But yeah, he had a really good painting of Richard Hart, like in his throne, and had like this king crown on, which I thought was pretty cool. So he's another artist in the community. And we definitely have a lot of artists in the Hex community, but he's one of them. Says, I'm glad these guys selling out under 2 cents. Well, and the beautiful thing is earlier, like I mentioned, so we're at 2 pennies now, and everyone has their own time frame and their own time horizon. So what was it, like 300 something thousand Hex, they free claim their Hex, and that's great. That's a lot of economic energy worth the Bitcoin that free claimed Hex. And so now you see some of those free claims just selling, right? They got their free money, and now they want to realize some profit. But the people that are getting in now, or the people that got in at 1 penny, like a 2x is not very much. And so what we're going to continue to see is, as people are buying and staking and locking and just having stronger hands in general and realizing what Hex is in general, well, now they're not going to sell below $1, or everyone's got their own psychological numbers that they're willing to realize profit and realize their gains. But the cool thing with Hex is you don't always have to completely sell out. And that's the beauty of getting an interest, is you're constantly just earning and earning. Sig Hex says, strap in, boys. We're getting ready for launch. We really are. So this is just version 2, right? And you can kind of see, upwards ascending triangle. You can see the price itself is just generally, like, if we just kind of, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that from big payday, which is right here, it's gone up and to the right, which is about a 10x from there. And then if we just type in Hex on just Hex USDC version 1, so this is the like the price history chart. And same thing, it almost looks like that Bitcoin, like that Bitcoin rainbow chart, where it's kind of like a big ass S curve and the price ranges. But we kind of see the same thing right here, where you got kind of this like upwards ascending this way, and then you got kind of just generally like momentum that's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So it's not breaking down and it's not bearish. Like all of this stuff right here, we've never gone back to these prices again. And the more that you have, Wasabi talks about this, looking at crypto. But if we just measure from, say, here to about the next pump, that's 160 days. That's 160 days of consolidation where the price was at like, 0.004. So like half a penny worth. And then now we've just consolidated more at about the penny mark. And so each time it kind of has a floor and a step upwards, which is great. Launch control over. This is Bran over. Ready for liftoff. 10, 9, 8. Exactly. Yeah, this is we're definitely getting ready for liftoff. Yeah. So I think I got Richard Hart. Oh, don't panic. That's awesome, man. Feel free to share more if you want. I know Hexo mentioned it. Big guess that day 500, and that's going to be Richard. So thanks for sharing that info. A lot of us are kind of knowing that Richard's working, and obviously he's a hard worker. But I think sometimes the live streams, even for Richard, can kind of be like, oh man, it's good to be on stream with Hexo and good to hang out with other Hexicans and kind of relax a little bit while he's on live stream. So don't panic, do tell. Yeah, do tell if you want, man. Aaron, and the beautiful thing is when I mentioned the domino, when I mentioned the domino, right? It's what Richard talks about, like a cascading effect or just that domino that just goes down like this. We've had so much gatekeeping and we've had so much pent up energy from the people that were purposely gatekept, from the people that didn't like Richard, that were slandering Richard, that, like I said, disliked them. Well, now the viewers, as they hear more and more about Hex, the slander becomes less relevant and becomes more suspicious, because if Hex actually was a scam, you would hear more people pissed off as opposed to more ranting and raving. And so what you tend to have, this is how I came across Richard in 2017, is I was in Litecoin and all the other altcoin markets, and there was always like the Bitcoin maximalist class, and I had always heard of Richard Hart, and I remember seeing a whole bunch of comments that were slanderous or just attacking. And so that's kind of like what piqued my interest, to be like, okay, anytime someone is doubted and whatnot, I like to verify if it's legit. And so what you're going to have is a lot of people that had previously been gatekept to Hex and to Richard Hart. You're going to have them become aware that, hey, this actually is the only financial product that doesn't have admin keys, that doesn't have centralized oracles, that is a smart contract, that's not losing billions of dollars of people's money. And you've got it also paying you out an interest. What more could you want? With people like Lex, with people like Jordan Peterson retweeting, be mindful of death. Like you just got more acceptance and awareness of people that time really does, it's kind of corny, like time heals all wounds, but especially with people, like I said, that thought Big Payday was a scam, that thought Hex was a scam. A lot of them, they thought Big Payday was going to be the big dump. Well, I mean, it was the big dump, but they thought it was going to be the big exit. And it wasn't. And I remember even when it was dumping to 20% of a penny, And I had someone that had gotten later than I had. They're like, see, told you, this is going down. And what do you know? People in the market decided to value it higher than what people are willing to sell it at. Yeah, Rusky. See, that's the other thing. Now, when you listen to your favorite influencer, I had a lot of them in 2017. Richard was definitely the one that I could kind of feel like the most compelling about. Like I could just sense that, hey, this guy is different than most, right? He's not putting on a show per se. He's not really overcompensating in certain areas. He's always just kind of like keep it real. And so yeah, now you're getting mad or you're losing money because your favorite influencer that you follow, that you thought did their own research, they were actually just gatekeeping someone because now they couldn't make money off of it. And that's another thing is, people like BitBoy or just other people in general that are like the general crypto influencers. They're promoting Bybit links and they're promoting just margin trading links and things like this that they know are going to get people wrecked. Richard mentions that founders and holders are the only ones that really make money in crypto. And so everyone in between, AKA the traders, they do get wrecked. And that's what happens in markets is, people buying tops and selling bottoms. And the only people that win at the end of the day are the people that are holding things that increase in value over time. Hey, Crypto King, what's up to you, man? Shout out to him. He's gotten a lot of interviews for Discourse Syndicate, and he's constantly working in that regard, getting the Hex information out. So shout out to him. I mean, at the end of the day, if you got people that are looking for that opportunity, but they just don't know where it's at, and you can kind of guide them a little bit if they're ready, then if they hear about Hex and they find about Hex, even if you don't guide them that much more, they're going to be compelled to, they saw your gain through, or they see that you're happy and you're successful, and they'll be compelled to even do enough research to be able to stake themselves and learn it themselves. That's what happened to a coworker of mine. So I only chatted with him a couple of times, and then he was already on Ethereum and eventually got him the Hex pretty soon. T-Share Master, it actually pays off being impulsive. You only live once into Hex, then learn about patience and delayed gratification. It's a win-win. Yeah, I tell you what, at the beginning of Hex, there wasn't this knowledge of shares, and there wasn't just this excitement. It was kind of like it was so early that the interest itself wasn't kind of like realized until later. But I look at some of the earlier stakes that I've made, a few weeks in, day 18, day 30, whatever. And it's like, man, I'm glad as hell that I threw the amounts that I did and staked it, like obviously various different lengths, but some of the earlier ones were just Cuatro Cincos, just to see, hey, if this is the max, let's do it the max. And now I look at those T-shares and it's like, man, I'm grateful that I didn't really know what the hell I was doing then, but just kind of like I listened to Richard's general consensus, which is he would always say like, okay, if you could buy Bitcoin at a penny and you could also earn interest on it, or penny or dollar, doesn't matter, but we'll just say a penny for this standpoint. But if you could buy Bitcoin at a penny and you could earn interest on it, and by doing that, you were kind of forced not to sell, well, then 10 years later, you would have had that 6 million X gain plus the interest, and then plus the price appreciation on the interest as well. So it's awesome. It's something that's really cool. And for the people that want to sell short term, you can do that too. You can realize profits here and there. It doesn't have to all be at once. So yeah, we'll go over a few more questions. I guess if anyone has any other last minute things they want to say, or any few other topics you want me to cover, I can definitely do so. One Heximofo, has anyone tried to onboard buying Bitcoin from Cash App and swapping to Hex through Atomic Wallet? Any negatives found? I haven't, but if anyone has, please do. Cal W, I'll definitely get to your question after this. Let's see. Aaron Wisman says, this is the greatest community, fighting a lot of haters. True. keep smiling and piling that hex. We're all going to have to bravely show our faces and stand by what we know is righteous and badass. Yeah, I tell you what, I was excited about crypto in 2017, and even to the point where I was like, man, do I come out as BallietBran, or do I make a video on this project that I'm in at the time? And I'm glad I didn't, because I just really wasn't ready, right? But I was engaged and involved in other crypto communities, and I could see that, hey, there's actually other people that are like-minded to cypherpunks and just to freedom and just to things like this, not being screwed over. And now with Hex, never intended on showing my face or anything like that, but with RG3 doing, first you had Hexo, and he's been streaming since day one, and then he inspired RG3, and then so him and Hexo kind of started the Discourse Syndicate, right, that Hexo was initially hosting. RG3 took it over, and then I just remember one Friday being like, okay, anyone can join on this. Well, hey, I've been in since day one. These guys that are here talking, we share a lot in common. Why not? So yeah, it's something that wasn't planned, but especially like just every day as Hex gets stronger, you're going to hear people coming out of the woodworks that were initially hating on it, deleting those tweets, or now supporting Hex. And we're just seeing that slowly but surely, because when you have people like Lex that are willing to decipher truth from fiction, they're able to decipher a lot of the negative comments and realize, okay, Richard gets hated on a lot, but he also is right on a lot of things when you actually look into the information. When you got people that can think freely like that, then the haters just, they become quieter and quieter as the truth reveals itself. Let's see. Actually, I skipped and meant to go back. So Cal W says, hey, Balliet, can we bridge between Ethereum and Pulse like we can between Ethereum and Matic? Thanks, man. Honestly, I got no idea. I know Ethereum obviously is layer 1. Matic was layer 2, built on top of Ethereum. And like Richard's mentioned before, that the layer 2 kind of just checks back with the Ethereum network to make sure everything's done properly and fine. But I know Richard also mentioned on at PulseChain.com, like PulseChain.com without the dot. So PulseChain.com, I know it says that there's just one MetaMask setting that you drop down and choose to get on the Pulse network. So that's honestly a question that I don't really have the answer to. Maybe, I think someone like Richard would obviously be a little bit better if he was willing and ready to disclose that information, maybe on a live stream soon. But I'm not sure. I do know with programmable money and with things like Hex that the code of Hex is modular. And so with Ethereum having a whole bunch of forks as well, there's probably going to be some sort of, bridging or some sort of atomic wrapping thing like that'll make the process a little bit easier. Because at the end of the day, cheap transactions are great, but if the process is harder for someone, or if it's more than just a few clicks, then people usually aren't going to be incentivized, right? So Richard's trying to make it as secure as possible, as safe as possible, doing it the right way, while also making it easier for the users. So not really too sure on that. Crypto King says, I'm having a hex pendant made with 5G protection shungite. I am onboarding the merchant, and he is coming on Discord Syndicate. Hey, that's awesome. That's actually a tweet. That's actually a YouTube video that I had pulled up here that I actually had on my list of things to cover and just haven't yet. So without further ado, let me just give a big shout out to Dollar Cost, Kinetics, and RG3, because those three, co-host and kind of work on Discourse Syndicate, and are even working on some other things that Discourse has mentioned recently. You'd have to go to their channel to check it out. But if we just take a look at RG3, one of his most recent streams, he had the founder of Nomics on. And Maddie kind of gave us a sneak peek of the audio conversation that Richard Hart and Clay had. But Captain RG3 was gracious enough to get Clay's time, an hour and 16 minutes worth. and it was a really good interview. And he's another person that was like, man, why is there so much hatred and gatekeeping and just, almost like blasphemy too, from the haters. So he just mentioned that people like Adam Stokes that initially did a great interview with Richard a long time ago, and then kind of just did other things and did another interview with Richard recently. Even he's wondering, like, man, this product is so good, it's complete, no risk and this and that, protecting billions of dollars of money, and the total value locked is only going up for longer. Why is there the hate? And one thing Richard's mentioned is a lot of people in general, like Elon Musk, or there's a whole bunch of people in general that do groundbreaking things. And if it has a pulse, if someone exists, then they're going to get hated, and they're going to have a positive following, a negative following, things like that. Adent says, Crypto King, what's your Twitter? Yeah, feel free to post that. I might be able to post that as well. But so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Shout out to everyone in the chat. We got the, just a little update. We got Hexologist soon. I know he is going to stream in about like an hour and a half, I believe. An hour to an hour and a half. So hopefully he's got some more information regarding the Richard Hart interview that he had commented on in regards to Toby's comment. So that's exciting. It's always good to see Richard, and it's even also great to see a Hexo, because even some days the most optimistic people, right? They're not always constantly optimistic. That wouldn't be healthy for you constantly to be happy, cheery-go-lucky and stuff. But if I'm ever having like a long day or a super busy day and whatnot, I love putting on Hexologist in general, but especially during those days where it's like, man, his laugh is contagious. His his personality has always been very inviting and very welcoming too. So he's definitely quite the inspiration in the community. And I actually, now that the car is done and purchased, I've got some shirts that I'm going to be sending out to him. And this is one of them. And obviously a newer version. It hasn't been worn or anything, but I got it in the bags, Hexo, so I'll be sending you a couple shirts this week. So yeah, the answer for his Twitter is the same as the name right there. So that's pretty much it. Rusky, thank you for the bits there. Yeah, don't panic. Yeah, feel free to just message him. It's the same username. You should be able to find them. Michael Hex, good to see you as well. I like the top hat. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's see. Marcavelli. Oh, yeah, he's talking about like bots at certain prices. It totally is. There seems to be a lot of limit orders getting fulfilled around the 2 penny range. Like it seems like we've been hovering at 2 pennies consistently for a while. And when we've dipped below, it's been an opportunity for those that were looking for dips. So that's really bullish when people are looking for dips and they're wondering, like, man, is Hex ever going to go below a penny? And it's like, well, we're above 2 pennies now, so might not be the best time to be thinking about that when it's already blown past below a penny. So that's pretty much it, guys. Got the Hex Vegas. We've got the Pulse Chain information that we covered last week as well, and this week. RichardHart.com. Yeah, Max. Hey, Hexgain, are we going to get 300 Hexicans in Vegas? Well, I'll be one out of the 300 if so. I know Maddie on the Hexican.Vegas, he's got a couple different Telegram channels. So t.me/Hex Meetup and t.me/Hex Meet. And there's already like 100-something people in one of them, like 130-something people. So yeah, we could get close to 300, and yeah, that's really bullish to see. It's going to be great to see everyone in public, because yeah, so far the only Hexican I've hung out with is RG3, and hopefully I'll Hexidente soon too. But to see everyone in one area like that will be rowdy, and it'll be fun to get some photos with all you guys. So yeah, T-share 17,476, and the beautiful thing about that is you can divide that by 3 if you just stake for 3,641 days up to 5,555. And a lot of people, like I said at the beginning, they might, if they're just getting into it, they might be like, okay, well, let's get the proof of concept first. So maybe I'll do 1 year. But then when you realize that the T-share rate does only go up and that Hex is getting more expensive, well, now we saw T-share go from like 60 cents, like at the lowest of Hex, to like $370 something at the higher end of the T-share rate. And so Hex up in US dollar went 388x, but in T-share went up like 620 something x. So it's all about the shares. It's all about keeping that golden goose, right? You don't want to kill the golden goose, but if the golden goose is laying golden eggs, you want it to be perpetual, because the golden eggs are what you'd sell, right? The principal is what you'd sell. And with Hex, it's possible to have constant recurring income and without having to do anything. Like for someone like myself, I've always been interested in entrepreneurship and followed these people. And now I realize what Richard's mentioned. If you want to get rich and you want to be like financially free in all these different terms, is you need to own assets, right? If you're exchanging your time for money and you're doing that every day, well, there's only so many hours you have in a day. And eventually you're going to hit a threshold point where if you have assets that work for you, those things can be working for you while you sleep. So it was amazing to have the opportunity of being in the right mental space and, not doing as well in some other cryptos. And when Richard had talked about the asset and how Hex works, it is replacing the second most popular product at your bank, which is a certificate of deposit. I typed in here on Google, like what are the top yielding, real quick here. If you just go into Google, type in top yielding assets, right? And the 7 best income producing assets for 21. The first option is certificate of deposit. And I go in to click the link and look into more. And then it talks about, well, the rate of inflation is like 3.71. And the whole point is with something like bonds, certificate of deposits, the smart money, they're looking for places to park their wealth, right? When you have money just being printed, like a helicopter money, you have being printed from nowhere, then some things are going to inflate a whole bunch and lose value, and other things that are more rare will continue appreciating and continue working for themselves. So things like Hex, you can really protect yourself against inflation. And when you look at the average APY that the average staker is getting for 5 point something years, it's like 38% APY, as opposed to like your highest yielding CD, which doesn't even keep up with inflation. So yeah, Freedom TV, he was the one that went on with Maddie. They had the Vegas show, so that was really good. Y'all should go to Maddie Allen's YouTube channel, and Freedom TV and him did a video on Vegas yesterday. So yeah, and I'd love to have you on as well sometime. Maybe we can plan something, within the next few weeks, something like that, to maybe get you on as well. And if you have any information that you'd like to share, feel free. Obviously, I want to give Maddie the stage for that because he's the one kind of setting everything up with everyone else. But Freedom TV, good to see you. I know you and your brother, Luis, you guys are doing good work. So it's awesome that you're already in Vegas and that you kind of know the area, because that way you just know how to, better accommodate people for what they're looking for. One Heximofo says, get your stakes in if you want to hex on both chains, bring up your pulses. Exactly. I can't even remember, but the first time Richard, talked about it. Yeah, you want to get those numbers up. So, Adent King can't DM you on Twitter. It's about a big interview with Richard Hart. So that's his message there. Sig Hex, hey dude, that'd be awesome, man. I mean, definitely going to be there, and I don't want to go there with like too many plans, but kind of just be more loosely planned and hang out with anyone that wants to. So definitely going to keep my schedule open so I can accommodate whatever changes happen and whatever people I want to hang out with. So that's pretty much going to be it. We've covered a lot of information, and right now we're kind of just ending the stream. Covered all the information. So Hex is doing solid. We're doing better than where we started. We started the stream. Let's see. We started the stream at like, below 2 pennies. Let's just say that. We started the stream below 2 pennies, and now we're at 2 pennies. So that's awesome. You can go to youtube.com/BallietBran or just allmylinks.com/BallietBran. Find me on all of the social medias that I do. And also you can find me on Nights of the Crypto Table every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But the thing that's cool about it that I like that we're doing is we're rotating between channels. So let's see, Dollar Cost just most recently hosted. And then the week before that, it was Motley Investor. The week before that, it was myself. But then we rotate between Crypto Coffee, who's got a new course out, and then also Look Into Crypto, better known as Wasabi from back in the day. So let's see. Crypto Coffee does have a course that's going out, kind of like a beginner's course for the friends that maybe you don't have time to onboard, but you want to steer them in the proper direction, right? Because I've steered people into t.me/hex crypto before, and now it's been like, okay, well, I led the horse to water, but around the water were a whole bunch of scammers that were pretending like they were willing to help, and in reality, they were trying to, attack someone that didn't know as much. They were just trying to learn. So as opposed to having, say, your friend, having to hold your friend's hand the whole time while you onboard them, if you have someone like Crypto Coffee that's kind of taken that person from the very basics, terminology, all of the details that you should know, I think he does a great opportunity and great job of getting people up to speed. Because even with people like Dollar Cost, if you can learn from other people's mistakes, say you've been in since 2017, you've probably made a lot of expensive mistakes. I know I can say that, where I've made a lot of expensive mistakes, even with Hex, not understanding how MetaMask worked and sending to the contract address or sending to a wrong address as opposed to your own. There's information that's covered in Coffee's course that gets people up to speed on Hex, gets people up to speed on why you would want to stake longer, long and strong, as opposed to like a day stake or a week stake. So check out his course. You can just type in Crypto Coffee on Twitter, and he's got his course linked in there as well. And then for anyone watching after the live stream, I've got a link as well that's to the course that you can do as well. So thanks everyone for tuning in. If y'all ever have any questions, you can go t.me/BallietBran or allmylinks.com/BallietBran. I'm pretty available, and I'll try to get to your questions as soon as possible. So without further ado, when Hexologist does go on, make sure to retweet it, like it, comment in the chat. If you have any extra bits, feel free to throw them his way. As a scientist, to say thank you and to keep supporting the people that have been there since day one streaming. I mean, that guy was streaming through COVID and while his wife had a kid and stuff like that. So he's definitely one of the most dedicated people out there, aside from Richard, the founder, that's just still working daily to bless everyone and to make the product even more of a glory. So that's it. That's all I got. MT Coiner, it was cool to see you on the Discord Syndicate show the other day. And yeah, let's get together sometime. If you ever want, you can come on too. But I'll see y'all next time. And till then, stake long and strong. Thanks, Vince. Yeah, Vince, Crypto Asians. Check out Crypto Asians. Wells Only's on that too. So thanks, Marcavelli. Everyone else in the